It is the first Friday feedback of the year. It's 2026. It is an election year. And we start with a lot of messages related to this year's important midterms. Remember that you can email info@davidpakman.com if you have anything to say. We will sometimes feature comments, replies on various platforms, etc. We start with a message about the Texas Senate race coming on the subreddit from Friendly Drummers, who says Jasmine Crockett should not be the nominee. As someone in Texas, longtime fan of her, I will vote for James Tallarico in the primaries, and here's why. Trump is not on the ballot. We don't want these old, white MAGA voters to get out of their sunken couches permanently facing the tella to vote. I want them to stay there. We want them to feel unmotivated and to not vote. Trump brought out the fight. He's not there anymore. Jasmine Crockett has made herself a staple out of being a fighter. She's gone viral when fighting back, and goddamn good for her. It's what her voters sent her to do, and she did it well. But we do not want Jasmine Crockett in this fight because we don't want a fight. James Tallarico is a soft-spoken, passive, milquetoast white man who won't scare these uneducated MAGA voters. Jasmine Crockett is a loud, educated, ambitious black woman. She is exactly who will scare these uneducated white MAGA voters. She will scare them right out of their damp, sunken sofas, straight to the voting booth to vote for a Republican. So this person says Jasmine Crockett should not be the Democratic nominee in Texas for Senate. It should be James Tallarico. Another message about that same race says this is sweet potato gut from the subreddit. Allred and Crockett should have fought it out. Most of the coverage I've seen claims that the switch reduces Dem chances in the race. I don't know, and I don't think anyone does, what this means for the race. But I'm very aggravated that these two are pretending to play nice for the sake of the party. The Democratic Party is rudderless. We need candidates of varying backgrounds and approaches to compete throughout the country to see what works and who's effective. Avoiding costly primaries is the same lame excuse that delivered Trump in 2022. Anyway, so this is someone who says Allred should have stayed in, let him fight it out. Listen, I do not know who is most likely to defeat the Republican senator in Texas. I think it's an uphill battle no matter what. I think Colin Allred had his challenges. I think James Tallarico has his challenges. I think Jasmine Crockett has challenges. What I don't see evidence for is that a robust primary weakens the eventual winner. So I would have been fine with Colin Allred staying in, and we could see a multi-way Democratic primary. What I do know is that whoever is the nominee, they are going to pull out all of the stops, because if Republicans were to lose this Texas seat, it would be such a disaster to them that they realize, in addition to maybe losing the House, they would further humiliate themselves, humiliate Trump, and make themselves the lamest of lame ducks for 2 years. So I expect a fight no matter who wins that primary. All right, on the issue of when I quote Trump, should I read what Trump said, or should I play audio or video of Trump talking? Divergent opinions of this. Just wrote in on Spotify, play the clips, David. It gives you way more credibility when you respond to what Donald actually says. That way, there's no room for misquotes or accidental misinformation. Some hosts just paraphrase with an "I feel like he's saying," and it comes off disingenuous. It forces me to look up what was really said. Well, that's one view, but Dom has a totally different view and says, I can't listen to the show regularly because of Trump clips. Hearing him speak is miserable and makes me sad. I listen to Bulwark a lot. I listen to Bulwark a lot more now because of Tim's rule about not playing Trump's voice. Listen, everybody can make the determination they want to make. If I'm covering the president, to say I am banning his voice from the show, it doesn't strike me as in line with the way I do things. If Tim Miller has that rule, I don't know if he does, by the way, but let's assume Dom is right. If Tim Miller has that rule, then that's a great rule for Tim. But I find it difficult to argue that it makes sense not to play the actual messages from Trump if I'm going to comment on them, if policy depends on them, if they can move markets or change foreign policy and foreign relations. So that's my view as of this moment. Fran, Montana, doesn't like me. And Fran says, LOL, this guy's stories are comedy. He makes up the wildest narr atives for this channel. It's so funny. Well, you know, Fran, there's no better time for some examples than right now. And if you have any examples of the narratives that I have made up for the show, I would love for you to tell me at least what a couple of them are, and then I can evaluate them and then we can figure it out. Not surprised. No examples cited. Grant McClellan on the subreddit says, so what do the Democrats have left? Given how much of a bust the Epstein files release were, and that was the last best hope the left had in the hopes of getting Trump out of the White House, what's left? Can we just accept that nothing the left does will ever get him out? And I say this as someone who's just checked out with Trump. Listen, I don't know who Grant was listening to specifically. I've made it very clear. Unless Trump is physically incapacitated, he's serving the rest of this term. It doesn't matter what's in the Epstein files. It doesn't matter if he, as he likes to say, shoots someone on Fifth Avenue. Trump is serving out the rest of his term. I don't think there's anything that would make the Republican-controlled Senate turn on Trump and actually convict him in an impeachment trial. I don't think there is anything that would do it. So the question is, how can Trump be diminished in his ability to do harm? And how can we weaken MAGA so that they don't get to put in another lunatic in 2028? That's the goal. And right now, in 2026, as we're approaching the midterm, Trump knows it, MAGA Mike Johnson knows it, Democrats know it. Most of you recognize that if Democrats take control of the House in November, Trump is neutered. That is it for his term. He doesn't get a single additional piece of important legislation passed unless it's completely uncontroversial and, some response to a natural disaster or something like that. So that is where we have to keep our eye right now. But on the idea of removing Trump, I don't know who was setting the expectation that he could be removed, but I certainly was not. Friendly drummers with a double dose this time around, writing on the subreddit, I miss the call-ins. I know David would constantly get annoyed. Some people just tried to call for the sake of it. Some didn't pay attention. Some didn't answer the call or the dreadful mic issues, but I miss it. It was one of my favorite things to watch. Right now, it feels kind of like he's in a locked room with no connection to the real world. Plus, I found his conversations to be a good example of talking to apolitical or conservative voters. It was a good guide into those conversations. I know he got annoyed, but maybe a moderator could get the callers before David picks them, et cetera, et cetera. Listen, couple things. Number one, overwhelmingly, the audience hated the call-ins. So I know that we occasionally hear from people who liked them. The audience mostly hated them, and I get overwhelmingly positive messages that we don't do the call-ins on the show anymore. But if you did like them, I've moved them to TikTok. When I do TikTok lives, we are doing basically an hour of the same thing we used to do 20 minutes of, the call-ins. I find that on TikTok, the callers are better prepared. They actually, 9 out of 10 or 19 out of 20, have an actual question or something to say, as opposed to kind of rambling with no set end point where I have to then interrupt and go, is there a question? I think the quality during the TikTok lives has gone up. The people that didn't like it on the podcast are still pleased. So check it out because we're doing a lot of the same stuff over on the TikTok lives, and I'll keep doing it. Waffle Nebula asks on the subreddit, why does it keep feeling like we're losing? I'm constantly fed up with how politics has been materializing. You obviously have a felon that somehow skirted into politics and letting him unfettered do as he may, despite every knock against him, whether by the charges, past crimes, or at least backlash coming from some of the media. Usually someone under adversity would alter their behavior and try to be careful and leave a low profile. Instead, you find him brandishing his exculpability as if he is invincible. Look at how he keeps violating court orders, skipping Congress to attack other nations, or altering federal property and renaming everything he could to his filthy name. Where is the restraint or checks against his behavior or actions? Our country is a joke that they allow this clown into power and how laws don't apply to him, and he keeps lying over and over again. I sometimes wish the other countries of the world would ally together to help us rid of this tyrant, kind of like Germany when it was ruled by Hitler. Yeah, listen, I recently talked about this on a podcast with Mark Elias. There are a lot of things we can't do with the power we currently have. There are a lot of things we can do at the local level and in other ways through the courts, but there are certain things we can't do. We have to figure out what is the immediate next step. The immediate next step is take the House, see if we can take the Senate. We're going to deal with other things later, but we have to figure out where we can be effective. Voting in local elections, donating to candidates when they represent your values, working at the state level, as in many cases, governors have a lot of administrative power that can contradict or juxtapose with what the federal government is doing. So there are a lot of things we can do. But when you control nothing, it's natural to kind of feel like you're not getting too many wins. We're going to keep at it. And 2026, I believe, is a key year for this. We're going to be here. I know many of you are going to be here. I believe we are going to see a turnaround. We have a phenomenal bonus show for you today. Sign up at joinpakman.com to get instant access to today's bonus show. Appreciate you watching. Stick around for this next video, and don't forget to hit subscribe so you actually see our uploads. You can also catch the full podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.